Temperatures across the world in September were the warmest on record, breaking the previous high by a huge margin. That's according to the EU Climate Service. Last month was almost a whole degree warmer than the average September temperature between 1991 and 2020. Experts say 2023 is now on track to be the warmest year on record. Our climate editor, Justin Rowlatt, is here with us to explain the details. Justin.
Thank you, Tina. Well, one scientist described the jump in temperatures this September as gobsmackingly bananas. The new data show that the average global temperature in September was 16.38 degrees Celsius. That beats the previous record temperature by half a degree, the largest jump ever recorded. Now, take a look at this. The line in the middle of this graph represents the average global temperature for the month of September between 1991 and 2020. Looking back to the 40s, we can see Septembers were colder than that for many years. But when we get to the year 2000, just look at that. The temperatures rise steadily until this year, that peak we see at the end. Of course, last month is part of a bigger picture. These squiggly grey lines show average temperatures across a whole calendar year, and this goes back before the industrial era began more than 200 years ago. This red line represents 2016. That is the hottest year ever recorded, but look at this year. From May, you see that temperatures start to rise until they are way above the previous record. Little wonder that scientists say 2023 will almost certainly be the hottest year ever recorded. So what can be done? Well, I've been looking at a new renewable technology that is being pioneered right here in the UK. The moon has always been a source of inspiration, but now we're set to harness the very real influence it exerts over our planet, because the moon's gravity powers the rise and fall of the tides, and that represents a huge amount of energy. It's reckoned tidal power could meet as much as 11% of the UK's annual energy demand. And it has a big advantage over other renewable technologies like wind and solar because the tides are predictable.
Because of its predictability, because of its ability to provide this baseline predictable renewable energy, the cost savings that you get from not having to invest in backup energy sources that are fossil fuel based, not having to invest in storage solutions such as batteries, might mean that the sort of unit cost of tidal energy for producing the energy might be worthwhile.
Engineers here in the UK are already developing all sorts of ways to capture tidal energy. In the waters off the Shetland Islands, great turbines that harvest the currents tides create are being tested. Rival designs are competing to prove their efficiency, including a kite that flies in the water. But there is a problem. The sea is just an incredibly harsh environment. The waves and the currents hammer at structures, and the salty water is aggressive too. It corrodes metal, all of which helps explain why tidal energy is just so expensive at the moment, even pricier than nuclear power. But the government is now offering generous subsidies for companies developing tidal power technologies.
And what's the wake being shed off that turbine?
Experts say that could be decisive in making the technology economically viable.
That's going to drive down cost, it's going to build out capacity, it's going to help with grid connection and that sort of thing as well, build confidence in the supply chain. That's going to really drive the industry forward.
Tidal power will never overtake wind and solar, say experts, but it could be a very useful additional source of clean power delivered thanks to our nearest celestial neighbour. Justin Rowlatt, BBC News, Plymouth.
Shares in Metro Bank plunged